Hey, Dad, why do we have to stop here? I just want to get on the plane.
Well, we have to stop, screen, go before we get on the plane. This is a security checkpoint, and those people work for TSA.
Oh, it looks kind of scary. I don't think Molly will like it.
Nah, it's not scary. TSA officers are here to keep us secure. So don't worry.
Thank you, TSA.
You're welcome. Have a great trip.
Bye-bye.
If you have a laptop, put it in a separate bin. Take out your cell phones, bracelets, metal. If you have a pacemaker, remove it.
It's not stopped this time, so I should be back for dinner. Yeah. Nervous? 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 No. They have body scanners, and they're patting people down, and we have to take off our shoes, so it's all very state-of-the-art. So I'm just glad they're here to protect us. Love you.
Actually, the TSA doesn't protect us from terrorist attacks.
Look, I know that TSA screenings are annoying, but they stop terrorists.
Actually, there's very little evidence that the TSA has ever stopped a terrorist, let alone one with a bomb.
Wait, haven't they stopped an attack?
Not that we know of. They didn't stop the shoe bomber. They didn't stop the underwear bomber.
So what did stop all those bombs?
Oh, easy. All the other security measures we added since 9/11.
Like reinforced cockpit blast doors, the increased number of air marshals, the heightened awareness of passengers like you and me, and intelligence agencies that work to stop attacks before they even happen.
TSA does nothing. For one thing, they straight up suck at screening. When the Department of Homeland Security tested them, the TSA failed to find mock weapons and explosives 95% of the time.
No way.
I don't wanna go to school, I just wanna break the rules. Boys and girls across the world, put it on our Johnson shoes. Going to the discotheque, getting high and getting wrecked. I don't wanna go to school, I just wanna break the rules.
On the other hand, I must be honest enough to say that I do feel that there are two types of laws. One is a just law and one is an unjust law. I think we all have moral obligations to obey just laws. On the other hand, I think we have moral obligations to disobey unjust laws because non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. I think the distinction here is that when one breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, he must do it openly, he must do it cheerfully, he must do it lovingly, he must do it civilly, not uncivilly, and he must do it with a willingness to accept the penalty. And any man who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust and willingly accepts the penalty by staying in jail in order to arouse the conscience of the community on the injustice of the law is at that moment expressing the very highest respect for law.
Well, I can sympathize with a good deal of that, but it seems to me you get into a very difficult point here at which one man's conscience is set, in fact, above the conscience of society, which has invoked a law. How are we to enforce law when a doctrine is preached that that one man's conscience may tell him that the law is unjust when other men's conscience don't tell them that.
I think the chief norm for guiding the situation is a willingness to accept the penalty. And I don't think any society can call an individual irresponsible who breaks a law and willingly accepts the penalty if conscience tells him that that law is unjust.
I want DPS to pay for what they have been allowing to happen to children and what happened to me.
It happened while Ms. Garvin taught at the now-closed Arthur Fisher School in Detroit. She noticed a 9-year-old student crying.
She told me that she had been forced to perform oral sex on 2 of the 4th grade boys during the lunch hour.
Garvin took the little girl to the principal's office, but says minutes later, the principal sent the sobbing student back to the classroom.
And I said to her, I said, well, what happened? Did the principal do anything? She said no. So she cried until 3:15, until it was time for the classes to let out.
Garvin says the principal told her not to call CPS. The school did not need the attention. She says she did anyways, as required by Michigan law.
I really got severely punished. I went from living in Grosse Pointe, doing well for myself, and then shacking up with my mother, living in her condo.
Rules in action. Rules that keep things going smoothly and fairly. Of course, in small groups, we sometimes get along without rules. When many of us play together, rules make the game. Rules help us play fair with each other, so all can enjoy the game. Rules that apply equally to all. It's up to each one of us to know the rules and follow them. Of course, at times, some of us have trouble with the rules.
You have a book out, overdue, and it's already been renewed once. I can't let you take out another until you bring that book back.
Oh, sure you can. Look, I need that book, and this one, too, for an assignment. Now, just let me take it out, and I'll bring it back next week.
No, I can't. It's the rule.
Yes, it's the rule. But John needed the book, and he wanted Betty to make an exception to the rule. Of course, she could not make an exception, so John came to see me, to ask me to make an exception in his case. What should we tell people who want exceptions to the rules? How can we show them that exceptions are unfair, that they spoil the game? Just imagine having an exceptioner in the library to decide that one person doesn't have to bring books back, but another one does. Would this be fair? Would it be fair to make exceptions and excuse some people from paying fines while making other people pay?
Sees a shark swimming towards a group of kids, and MacGyver style, he gets in the water, he wrestles the shark. Look at this, look at him. And he sends that shark away from the kids, grabbing it by the tail. This is really honorable, I think all of us would agree. But apparently he got fired because of it. Turns out he and his wife were both on sick leave when this happened, and a TV crew that just happened to be shooting nearby caught the whole thing on camera. It made big headlines, went viral. His employer saw it and then said, wait a minute, you're unfit to work, but you're fit enough to wrestle a shark? And that is when he got the axe.
Have you ever been face to face with a police officer and wondered, is he about to kick my ass? Well, wonder no more. If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. First, obey the law. Laws were made for a reason. Think of them as hints. You've heard people say, man, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you. Well, here's some of that shit. Carjacking, armed robbery, arson, selling drugs, buying drugs, stabbing, shooting. You know, you probably won't get your ass kicked if you just use common sense.
Gregory Kwiatkowski, turned Neil Mack around and started choking him. So then I'm like, Greg, you're choking him, because I thought whatever happened in the house, he was still upset about. So when he didn't stop choking him, then I just grabbed his arm from around Neil Mack's neck.